Too early in the day. I'm in too much of a good mood because I realized I should have got into Elric a long time ago. Yeah, too much of a good mood this morning. This is Elric, the Melnibone, and I have Wikipedia open because otherwise I would never be able to pronounce that word. From Titan. It's got suggested readers on it. It's got a bit of blood. I think that's about it, really. It says for mature readers. I'd give it a PG-13 at best. Now, I have read very, very little of Elric. I'm not going to lie. I think I might have saw a bit of Elric, the early Elric comics, in like a heavy metal or something. I didn't read any of the books. I'm much more of a sci-fi horror type. And when I say sci-fi, I mean hard sci-fi. Fantasy sci-fi just kind of gets kind of weird. And I find most regular fantasy books dense. Like the amount of world building you have to do to make a fantasy world believable tends to get to me. That is a bit of an issue I have with this book, but I'll get to as to why. I'm not going to give you away any of the plot because I enjoyed this book, and if you like sword and sorcery, you will too. The artwork's amazing. The artwork is who's this by? Art by Julian Tilo and Robin Reicht. So we did a few pages. Storyboards, the colors are good. Translated, which makes me wonder if this was a European comic beforehand. Which would explain the storytelling style and some of the artwork. It doesn't really seem like an American work. There is something like, I just looked it up, almost 60 years of material for Elric. Don't ask me how much of it is continuous. I'm not even going to try. They cram a whole bunch of that into here. He gets off a ship. He's got a sword that takes people's souls, which really ought to, the soul stealing sword part should be something of a selling point. It is absolutely brutal. Medieval fantasy fiction, Western Northern Europe type. You've got this. They visit some city, and check this out if I can get this in there. Is that that tells you something about the world this takes place in. I've read a lot of Conan, and while the Conan world seems big, a lot of it seems kind of disconnected. Maybe just because of the way the stories go. This took out every opportunity it could to tell you that this is all part of some great big thing. That there's a giant world out there, and you need to learn about every part of it. Now, I get that it's a #1 of a, I think it's going to be probably a limited series. That there's so much world building in order for the world to make sense that they have to deluge you with it. But given that most of the people who buy it are going to be longtime Elric fans, you need to keep them happy too. And while I know that there's people I follow on social media, probably someone like Razorfist, would happily talk both my ears off about every last bit of minutia in here because they're that big a fan. And trust me, I would do it to someone if I was trying to explain a series I like. They'll just look at this and go, oh, I know that part. I get this reference. I know that, I've heard of this. That's the kind of people it's for. But they need to draw in new readers. So a relative noob like me still needs to be able to digest what's going on. I'm going through Wikipedia. The White Wolf is one of... There's a story in one of the books that I haven't read. So I won't know what's going on. It might tie into that. I don't know. If it doesn't, there's a comment section. Feel free to crap all over my ignorance in this. But I am going to read the hell out of this series, and you can kind of tell it's formatted for a different audience. Yeah. Just the detail to tell you, oh, by the way, this world is 100% real, right? Like there's spires, different architecture. There's I don't know, banners or laundry hanging up here. There's every rope holding up this bridge. It's amazing. I'll probably wind up reading this whole series. $4, so $5.20 a pop. It's gonna cost me a fair bit of money, but I'm gonna enjoy the hell out of it. And if you think there's something I need to know going into this before issue 2 comes out that doesn't spoil anything, let me know. I'd love to hear it. And my weekend is just getting started. Gonna have fun. I'll see you in the future.